So far what we have done is we have successfully uploaded the file to the server. We have received the file using Formidable. We have then given the file a unique file name, and we have finally resized the file down to a width of 300 pixels using the Graphics Magic module. Now it's time to put the file in the S3 bucket. To do that, we're going to use our Knox client, which we initialized in one of the earlier videos, and I'm going to provide a reference to this variable to our routes.js like so, and over here let's receive the reference. Now to put the file in the S3 bucket, what you're going to do is first read the file using the fs.read file, and we're going to provide the path, which is essentially n file, and in the callback function we will have a reference to the error and the buffer. This buffer contains the file after it has been read in. Now I'm going to initialize a new variable called request, and we will set this to Knox client dot put. So we're going to use the put method for actually putting the file into the S3 bucket. Inside the put, you need to provide a file name with which the file would be stored in the bucket. And I'm going to use the fname variable here, which does not contain the entire path. It simply contains the uniquely created file name that we generated earlier, followed by a JSON object which describes the type of file that we are putting in the S3 bucket. So there are two attributes that you need to provide here. The first thing is a content length, which we can set to the buffer dot length, and the second thing is the content type, which will be set to image/jpeg, because that's the type of file that we are saving in the bucket. So once you have this request, this req variable, we are going to look for an event called response. So once the S3 bucket responds, this event listener would be fired, and within the callback function here we will provide the response object. And what we're going to do here is we'll check if the response dot status code is equal to 200. That means the file has been successfully put in the S3 bucket. Okay, so this means that the file is in the S3 bucket. So essentially it's extremely easy to upload files into the S3 bucket using the Knox client. One more thing that I need to do is I need to end the request by doing a request.end and providing a reference to the buffer. Okay, this is outside of this event listener, so make sure you don't confuse the request.end as a part of the response event listener. So once again, the first thing that we did is we provided a reference to the Knox client, which we had initialized earlier, to the routes.js function. In the routes.js, we start by reading in the file by using the fs.read file method and providing the path to the file. Once the fs.read file loads the file into the buffer, we invoke the put method of the Knox client, and we provide a file name with which we want to store the file in the S3 bucket. We then set the content length attribute to buff or buffer.length, and we also define the content type as image/jpeg. We are then listening for the response event to occur once the S3 bucket responds, and if the status code is 200, that means that the file has been successfully put in the S3 bucket.